Hello dear crypto friends, and welcome to this video in which obviously we're going to look at the crypto market, at Bitcoin, and try to understand if Bitcoin will now make a reversal or what the hell is happening. Why isn't it bouncing? That's what we want to know. And why is it looking so ugly? I have opened already the 4-hour chart, as you can see. And this thing is not looking nice. Look at this last 4-hour candle here. What the hell is happening? Last time I was saying this could be a nice setup for a nice inverted head and shoulders, right? We could see something like this here happening. That was my preferred scenario. And if this was to happen, then we would need a nice volume breakout, so a breakout on high volume, and the target would have been 26,500, because for that normally the breakout height is given by the distance of the head to the neckline, so we would be looking at a target of 26 to 27,000. But what do we see, friends? What is happening? Bitcoin is disappointing us again. Bitcoin, what the hell is wrong with you? Why are you disappointing us so much? First you are not going to 300k and now you do this stuff? What the hell is happening? Sorry for that small outburst. I might get a bit agitated here with Bitcoin. I'm a bit fed up with the performance of Bitcoin, because Bitcoin every time tells us like, oh yeah, I will go higher now, and then it's still looking brutally bad. We are in this long-term channel here. Let me just zoom out for better visualization. That is what Bitcoin has been doing since 2010, since it started trading on Mt. Gox, and we are in this long-term channel here, this super long-term channel. But you know, the performance of Bitcoin lately has been so disappointing. If we, for example, try, let us try to understand the cycles, how much Bitcoin has risen in the cycles, okay? So the first cycle, I take lowest low to highest point. That was a factor 3,246 in the first cycle. Second cycle, lowest low to highest high, a factor of 622. Still quite respectable. Now, the third cycle, 160 to 20,000, was still a not so bad factor, 117. Okay, still not too bad. And now, this cycle, you're telling me this has been it? A factor of freaking 20? Like, look at this. This is a factor of 20. 21. Sorry, 21. So you're telling me here we get a factor of 3,246, then 622, then 117, and now only a factor of 21? This is ridiculous. What will come next? A factor of 4? Man, if this continues, we can trade stocks. We can go to the stock market. There's no point in trading coins anymore if we get a factor of 4. Okay. Now rant really over. I'm a bit annoyed today, as you can see, with Bitcoin, because I was really thinking that this here would be a nice opportunity for a nice bounce, because this was not a bad volume we had here in this last weekly candle. And actually it would have been nice to see some kind of reaction, some kind of bounce, but Bitcoin is just not bouncing. It is just not bouncing, which, if this inverted head and shoulder fails, friends, if this fails, I don't know, it's not looking good. What else can I say? If this here fails, if this inverted head and shoulders fails, friends, let me tell you something. It is looking bad, okay? It is looking bad. Because then what will Bitcoin do? Well, I can tell you what it will do. If it fails to go through this thing here, it will go lower. How low, you might ask? How low will it go? Well, let us go into the weekly chart, and I have loaded a pessimistic long-term linear channel, okay? I'm using different logarithmic regression channels now. This here is the pessimistic one. This is the optimistic one. You can see the optimistic one goes much higher than the pessimistic one, and at some point they even intersect, where the lowest possible price in the optimistic one in August 2030 will correspond to the highest possible price in the pessimistic one. So I'm tending to believe Sorry friends, but I'm tending to believe more and more that the pessimistic channel is the real one, and that actually Bitcoin, if this doesn't bounce soon, we will really go down to 13,000. We will freaking go down to 13,000. I'm starting to get angry at Bitcoin, because this is like, the performance of Bitcoin is getting ridiculous now. I'm getting a bit annoyed here. So we would go down to 13,000, right? And then we hope for a bounce, but honestly, it could just be that we could stay flat and get a bear market type of behavior until mid 2023. And then it could still happen that even as late as 2024, in this pessimistic scenario here, like take a look how pessimistic this long-term logarithmic regression channel is. I mean, this is ridiculously pessimistic. If this is the correct channel, look when we will have the latest possibility to go to 69K in 2026, in July 2026, in 4 years is still possible to go as low as 69,000. That is the level of pessimism we're talking here. So we could be really in like a bear market situation until, I don't know, 2025. And I really hope this doesn't happen, because it was said that Bitcoin is the chosen one. It was said that you would deliver us from evil and not join evil. You know, because Bitcoin is just currently following the Nasdaq like a small bitch. That's what it's doing. Bitcoin has become the small bitch of the freaking Nasdaq and the stock market. I mean, look at this shit. This is ridiculous. What the are you doing, Bitcoin? Look at you. Look at you. You are following the Nasdaq 1-to-1. That is what you have become. That is what you have become, Bitcoin. You were supposed to be a safe haven asset, a deflationary safe haven asset, and now look at you. Look at you. I will now overlay again. I will overlay Bitcoin, so just so that we can see how ridiculous Bitcoin has become, how ridiculous of an asset Bitcoin has now become. Look at this. Look at this here. I'm laughing my ass off here. Literally, I'm laughing my ass off. How ridiculous has Bitcoin become? Look at this. Look, it's following the Nasdaq on every move. But of course, it's actually even worse than the Nasdaq, because at least the Nasdaq has bounced now a bit in the last days, but Bitcoin not, of course. Bitcoin just goes down lower. So actually, it's like following the Nasdaq when the Nasdaq is going down, but it's not following the Nasdaq when it's going up. Isn't that hilarious? So Bitcoin is really not performing as we would like, and I'm sorry if the rant here got out of hand, but it's not performing as it should. And if we actually go into the monthly chart, friends, I have some bad news. The bad news is not over. Look at the ugly monthly candle. Now we have the 23rd of June. Okay, it's the 23rd of June. So there's only one more week until the monthly candle closes. And look at this ugly candle here. Like, look at this ugly candle. Look at it. Look at it, how ugly it is. If this closes, if this mofo closes like this, I can tell you, friends, what will happen. Because look at the last time an ugly candle like this one existed, an ugly monthly candle. Oh yes, that's right. That was in November 2018. That was an ugly one, right? And what happened afterwards? Oh yeah, we stayed in this range for 4 more months and we actually went even lower. So if we get something like this here, we will go even lower and stay at around 13,000 for quite a while. And this will be not cool, because then we will really touch the lower end of this long-term channel. And then the pessimistic picture has really been confirmed. Then it has really been confirmed. And look at this here. Oh yeah, this is also an ugly candle. Look, in January 2015. Oh, and what happened afterwards? What happened afterwards? Yeah, we stayed flat. We stayed flat for almost a whole year. Bitcoin started breaking out in October 2015 after 10 months in that ugly range. That's what happened when last time we got such a monthly candle close in January 2015 and in November 2018. And now we're almost there again. We're almost there again. So we could really be looking at a ugly long time in these lows here without any bounce, without anything going on. And then we could actually, like here, get a second low. Like we could get a second low. What the hell is going on? And that after Bitcoin has fallen to all-time low RSIs. Like Bitcoin has now made new all-time low RSIs and we're getting no bounce of any kind. This is really making me angry. I'm not playing this shit. I'm not playing this. I'm freaking annoyed right now with Bitcoin. I'm really starting to get brutally annoyed. And maybe that is a good sign, because maybe that is a sign that the bottom is really soon in. The frustration level is growing a lot for me. Like this is getting to maximum frustration right now. This is getting to the breaking point of frustration, okay? Because just look at it. Look at what would happen if we would get a repeat of 2015. Let me just overlay it because it's so freaking beautiful. Oh wow, this would be nice. Look at this here. This would be nice. We stay a whole year in this range, in this ugly range, and then we dump another time, we dump a second time, right? And then only at some point in April 2023 or May 2023, we get some kind of recovery. Or, I mean, the best, what we can hope for now, honestly, is this one here. Like, this was the monthly candle close that looked very similar. If we go again to the monthly, the 2018 candle here in November looks quite similar to the one we have now, right? So, okay, we say we get a scenario like this one. Then what are we looking at, friends? We are looking at lower lows down to 13,000 something, 14,000, 13,800, something like that, to the lower line here. And then at some point we might bounce again and go, if something like this was to repeat, go to 45,000. And then, I mean, you know what could happen, right? I mean, I'm honest with you now. The stock market, we don't know if it will recover. The contrarian theory, I put out the contrarian theory that everyone is so bearish, so we might get a bounce in the stock market. But apparently it is not happening, because apparently everyone is super bearish, and that means that indeed every idiot is right, and it just keeps dropping lower, because even the baker in the bakery somehow has become an expert in the stock market, and being bearish now actually makes you 100% right, because it just keeps dropping lower and lower. So what this would mean now, look at this shit. If this would repeat, look at this. We could be looking at such a scenario where even as late as late 2023, we could dump down again to 16,000 if some stuff like that was to repeat. And then we could still be looking at a price of 35,000 even as late as April 2024. And then we could, if we would get such a repeat, then finally we would pump to, I don't know, 150K in November 2024. I mean, that is like the scenarios that we really could be looking at here. As sorry as I am to say this, because look at this, it's just not happening. Bitcoin is just at these low levels where you think, my God, Bitcoin, like every person that has a bit of intelligence left would buy at this point. Everyone would normally buy at this point. This is a steal normally, right? But apparently not. Apparently it just keeps going lower. The buying volume, let us look at the buying volume. The buying volume is going down. The volume is dropping. The volume is just dropping, and nobody's freaking buying this shit. Nobody's buying this shit. The buying volume is not higher than the selling volume. Yes, we have a few more green bars than red ones, but it is not higher. So if we aren't getting a decisive bounce, let us go to the S&P 500. If the stock market doesn't do a decisive bounce, then friends, then this thing will drag on for quite some more time. Because apparently just saying now that we are in a bear market and we will just keep dropping makes you a freaking expert in the stock market. Apparently now you're an expert. If you say like everybody, if you're super bearish like everybody, you're a freaking expert, because apparently that is actually what's going to happen. That's actually what's going to happen. That's actually what's happening. Like you're saying, wow, this is a bear market, we're just going down. Apparently this really is what's going to happen. Because I was saying, hey guys, look, it is quite likely we are on super oversold levels. We're seeing historic lows in every asset class. Like we're talking about super oversold levels in the S&P 500. We're seeing RSI levels that we see like maybe once, I don't know, every 10 years, every 7-8 years. Look at this here. We're now reaching oversold levels here on the S&P 500 that we see like on average. Like we see on average here 1962, 1967, early 70s, mid 70s, here 1987, 2001, 2002, 2008 and 2020. And now we're again at these levels, almost, not quite, but almost. So it really appears, friends, that if you are just pointing downwards, like everybody, like really everybody, then actually you are right. Because this is apparently, the contrarian thesis is apparently dead and we're just freaking going down. Apparently no bounces, no bounce whatsoever. It is just going down, down, down without any bounce. And that means what? That of course means that freaking Bitcoin, which has become the little bitch, I repeat, the little bitch, okay? The little bitch. Bitcoin has become the little bitch of the freaking stock market, okay? We are just following the stock market without any fucking bounce whatsoever. Okay, we are just following the stock market without any bounce. This is ridiculous. Bitcoin, you were promised to us to be the chosen one. And now look at you. Okay? Look at you. You were supposed to bring balance to the force and not join the Sith. But now look at you. That's exactly what you're doing. So Bitcoin now, in this worst case scenario, okay? If we get this worst case scenario, we are really looking at Bitcoin potentially being in these low regions for a very, very long time. And only when the next halving comes in March to May 2024 will we recover again. It is insane, but this really could be happening. I didn't want to believe it because I'm a contrarian. If everyone thinks something and 90% of people are bearish right now, I'm like, this is too easy. This cannot be so easy, right? Because I was also skeptical when everyone was saying, wow, plan B, 300,000, right? I was skeptical, okay? Everyone like, we're going to hit 500,000 by the end of 2021 or 300,000 here because plan B said it. And if plan B said it, then it's confirmed. We're going up here to 300,000 by late 2021. I was freaking skeptical. Every guy who comes into crypto is an expert now. Like, I'm new in crypto, I heard about plan B, we're going to 300K. I knew this wasn't going to happen. Okay? But now, everybody who's coming into crypto says, like, guys, we're falling to 10K. This is going much lower. But you know what? Apparently that's freaking true. Apparently, that is exactly what's going to happen. Apparently, this is exactly what is going to happen. Okay, that was an insane rant now. I'm letting out my anger. I'm letting out all my anger on Bitcoin, on the crypto market, that it's just following the stock market in such an absurd way, when actually, if you logically think about it, inflation is now at levels like inflation. Let me just load inflation. Come, let's look at inflation together. We look at the United States inflation rate, right? You would think that a inflation of 8.6 freaking % year over year would make the people buy Bitcoin. You would think like every person that has an IQ of 70, okay, 70, would realize that, hey, my everything what I own, like my money, is getting worth less and less. Like this is getting worth less and less. Maybe with values of inflation that have been seen the last time in the freaking 70s, maybe with such levels of inflation, it might be a good idea to, I don't know, buy a bit of Bitcoin, buy a bit of crypto, you know, because Bitcoin is by nature a deflationary asset. You would think that there was the necessary intelligence for that, but no. Bitcoin is being dropped like a stone. Why? Because freaking stocks that have freaking normally nothing to do with Bitcoin are dropping right now, and Bitcoin is just being treated like a stock. Believe it or not, Bitcoin, for all intents and purposes, friends, has devolved into a stock. That's what Bitcoin is right now. Bitcoin, friends, is a tech stock. Okay? It is a tech stock. It is nothing else. Don't believe for 1 second that Bitcoin is the big promise of a deflationary monetary asset. It is a freaking stock. And look at it. Bitcoin has only ever seen a stock bull market. Friends, Bitcoin has never seen a stock bear market. Look when this sucker was created. It was created in the best of times. It was created after this event here, after 2008. So it has only ever seen a freaking bull market, never a bear market. So imagine what will happen now if like every baker, every freaking IQ 80 person now is a new expert on the stock market, and we really go down like woohoo, we go down because I read it on MSNBC. We go down now, we crash now, the biggest crash of all time. Because that is exactly what apparently is going to happen, okay? Now imagine what will happen to Bitcoin. Imagine what's going to happen. Like, guys, really, if this continues, if not more people are waking up and seeing that actually it makes sense to buy coins, if people don't wake up and we leave Bitcoin to those guys like institutions, the big institutions, if we leave them Bitcoin, this sucker will just continue dropping. This sucker will go down to 13,000. And the best we can hope for is this pathetic logarithmic regression channel here that is the super pessimistic one. And we are talking about like prices here that could be even in early 2024 as low as 27,000, and even as late as October 2025 at 50,000. And we could be looking at a ridiculous rally that might lead us to 400,000 as late as, I don't know, late 2026. So guys, I don't know anymore. I'm starting to think that we have been too optimistic with Bitcoin all this time, and Bitcoin is really pulling like, I don't know, a repeat of 2018 on us, or like this bear market here in 2015, and that we will stay down the whole time. And this, something like this here could really be happening. Something like this here. We could be really looking at such a scenario where we are now at where we were in late 2018, early 2019. Then we stay down here, we get a bounce, and then at some point in mid 2024 we are being delivered, because then the next Bitcoin halving comes. And if this channel here continues to hold true, we could then go to 200 something thousand by late 2024, or mid 2025 to 200 something thousand. I'm starting to believe that this is unfortunately the more likely scenario, because being a contrarian nowadays seems to be wrong. Probably you just have to do what everybody else is doing, but I will still buy, okay? Fuck it. Okay, fuck it. I'm still buying this shit. I started buying coins, I started buying, okay? I started buying, and I will still fucking continue. And if I go down with this ship, if I go down with the sucker, then so be it. Then so be it, okay? I will continue buying, and I don't know. I don't know where this is going, to be honest, because my theories, my optimistic theories, are proven wrong and wrong time and time again. So I'm now at max, as you can see, my emotional state. I'm now at max pain. I'm now at max anger. I'm now at max rage. So maybe this is a sign for the bottom. I don't know. But this right now, the sign that here, it's still like pretending to do this inverted head and shoulder. Let me deactivate the long-term trend channel. It's pretending to do this inverted head and shoulder, yet it is still not happening. Like, this is ridiculous, friends. This is ridiculous. If this will not complete, if this will not break through this line here and give us a nice inverted head and shoulders, then I don't know what. Then I don't know what anymore. I was very convinced that at least we would get some form of bounce. At least, if not directly a new rally. Because until not long ago, friends, I was still not so pessimistic that this was an expanded flat correction, okay? That we are actually like doing a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave move. I was still kind of optimistic until we were at, I don't know, about 20,000. But the moment we went below 20,000 and now don't even get a bounce at those insanely low levels, I'm starting to lose that optimism. I'm starting to think that such a scenario is becoming less and less likely. Not only less and less likely, it's becoming like almost impossible at this point. It's by the day, the longer we linger here at those ridiculous levels without bounce, the less likely such a scenario becomes, friends, and the more likely I will have to go to the pessimistic channel, and the more likely a scenario becomes where we really go down to this lowest possible trend line, maybe get a bounce on some form, but then we'll wobble around, and then only as late as 2024 or 2025 we really start rising for earnest. This is what I'm starting to believe, because apparently being bearish when everybody is bearish is now suddenly correct. I don't know how this is possible, because until now it was always a good strategy to be a contrarian, to do the opposite of what most people were doing. But apparently right now the secret to this market has become to do exactly what everybody else is doing. This is now the new secret to being a pro in the crypto market. Now you know it. This is the new secret. If you want to be a pro, just ask the baker around the corner. Just go to, I don't know, ask your cleaning lady. Hey, cleaning lady, what do you think about Bitcoin? She will say, I think, it's pretty bearish. I think it will fall to 5,000 because everything is so bearish right now. And she will be probably right. Isn't that amazing, friends? That's how easy it is. So I'm really sorry for this rant episode. This was like a super rant episode. But as you can see, I'm now at max anger. So maybe, who knows, maybe this is a good sign. Maybe being at max anger is a good sign, and suddenly, bam, we will go upwards. But I'm starting to think more and more that this contrarian view will not materialize, and that it will happen like everybody is thinking. It will happen like everybody is thinking, and what will happen? We will just go down even more, because if we look at the VIX, let's look at the freaking volatility index. It is actually looking like we are going to dump. It is looking like we are going to dump. You will say, why? Why is it looking like this? Why? Why is it looking like this? Well, because every time the VIX is making such resistance lines, here is a resistance line, right? Here it has a resistance line. Here it has a resistance line. Here it had a resistance line. And every time, you can do this exercise, it works all the time in the whole history of the VIX. So every time it's doing this resistance line, and then bam, we go an increase in volatility. And then bam, we get an increase in volatility. And then bam, we get an increase in volatility. And here also, Okay, resistance line, and then bam, we get an increase in volatility. And that, what is an increase in volatility in the VIX? Dumps. Every one of those spikes, friends, every one of those spikes corresponds to a huge stock market dump. So I'm starting to think that I was an idiot, I was completely wrong, and the contrarian view has died, and just doing what everybody else is doing is the perfect strategy right now. Like the perfect strategy. Like buy when everybody's buying and sell when everybody's selling. I don't know what has happened with the world. I don't know what the hell has happened with the world, friends. I don't understand it anymore. I don't freaking understand it anymore, because I was really always kind of a contrarian and that always worked for me. But apparently right now we will just get a spike in the VIX, and that means a huge dump in the S&P 500, and then a freaking bear market. We're going down lower, I don't know how low, and this means a huge bear market for freaking Bitcoin, for the crypto market entirely, for every coin that you know. Let's not even talk about the let's not even talk about the altcoin market. Let's not, like, we're thinking, hey man, this is now really the altcoin market, the total 3, so the total market cap of all altcoins excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum is really now at all-time high levels. Hey man, like this would be a perfect scenario for a pump, because this whole thing here would just have been a running flat correction. This would be an amazing setup for a huge pump, right? This is what we would normally think, that like everybody that has studied charts a bit. But you know what will probably happen? Like everybody's saying we will go lower, and this thing will just like this, you know? Because apparently the baker and the cleaning lady is now right on coins and on the stock market, and we are all idiots who try to have a contrarian view. That is apparently what's happening in the markets, friends. I'm at a loss. If we don't get some kind of bounce soon, then friends, coins have become quite ridiculous, because they are just doing what the stock market is doing. It doesn't make even sense anymore. It doesn't make even sense anymore having a dedicated coin channel, because then it actually makes more sense to just look at the stock market, like only at the stock market, and then try to derive what coins will be doing. You know? That is how sad this has become. I'm sorry that this has been such a rant episode, but I'm really starting to get super annoyed here. If we don't get soon some kind of bounce, then friends, I'm at a loss. Seriously, I'm at a loss. We probably will just go down lower and lower. I mean, soon at some point we will get a bounce, but I don't know when it will come. And all indicators seem to be wrong anyways. For example, this wonderful hidden bullish divergence that actually only happens when we get insane bounces. Here, lower lows in the price, higher lows in the RSI. Normally a super good bounce indicator. Apparently just doesn't work anymore. This was a brutal rant today, but I'm really at a loss with the crypto market. When we don't even bounce at these levels here, we're really now at 20,000, friends. If we don't even bounce here, then we can say hello to 13,000. Then we can say hello to 13,000. And this sucker will really go lower, and we really might get such an ugly scenario, especially with this monthly candle close that I mentioned. Especially with this monthly candle close, this is not looking good. If this candle closes like this, friends, okay, that's all I say. That's what Bitcoin will be doing. Okay, we can just copy this here, and that's the best we can hope for. And then we get like an extended bear market type of scenario. And all this when we have record inflation. Think about this, how freaking hilarious this is. Anyways, friends, sorry for this rant episode. This was basically just a rant episode, so that you can see that I'm also like emotionally sometimes a bit not neutral. Let's put it like this. I'm not sometimes entirely neutral on coins. Sometimes I'm getting angry, I'm getting frustrated, and maybe this is like the sign that we are really at the bottom. Maybe the peak frustration, peak anger is a sign that we are actually really at the bottom, and that suddenly we go higher. But friends, as things are looking right now, I honestly have to say I wouldn't count on it. Be prepared for a shitty time. Be prepared for a really bad time. The probability is there that we still could get a bounce, at least to this resistance level here. We could still get a bounce of some form, but as it looks right now, I don't know when it's coming. I don't know when the bounce is coming. I would have thought it would come already, but apparently not. So friends, I'm sorry again for this rant episode. I wish I would have been in a better mood. Let us hope that some kind of bounce will come, because if not, then this will be an ugly bear market. And every baker, every cleaning lady, and every newbie investor was actually right on crypto. Thanks for watching, friends. Hopefully tomorrow I will be in a better mood. Have a nice day and see you in the next video. Bye.